Right then team, in today's video we are going to go through the overhead press, also known as the strict press. When setting up for this movement, the height of the bar in the rack is going to be similar to where you'd set up for a back squat. The one thing you want to make sure is as you do set this up, you don't want it to be too high so you have to go on your tiptoes to get the bar off, and you don't want it to be so low that you've got to go into a real deep squat to take the bar off. Hand position is going to really depend individually upon what feels right for you, okay? And how wide your shoulders are in general. Similar to pull-ups, when you just put your hands out to the side, you're going to be in and around that position. Where it goes from smooth to rough on the bar, I would normally stick my thumb out and that would be where I would go. Or you have rings on the bar and I would maybe put my hand just inside of them. So, thinking, like always, play around with that just to see what hand position fits best for you. So, as I walk the bar out, when I get into position, I'm going to come in under and I'm going to bring my elbows through, so my elbows are now underneath my wrists. I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to take 1 to 2 steps backwards, just so I can find my foot position. So the one thing that I like to do is I actually like to have a little bit of a soft bend in my knee. So my feet are in my squat stance, and what I'm going to be doing is rotating my knees outwards. That's going to get my glutes to fire up. That's going to allow my body and my torso to stay nice and upright. So from this position, I'm going to press up overhead. The one thing I've got to be aware of is I don't hit my chin on the way up. I don't hit my nose on the way down. So as I press up, I'm going to rock my weight slightly into my heels to allow the bar to move straight. So I'm going to rock, and then head's going to come back through that gap. So on the way down, I'm going to control down, bring my head out the way, get to the bottom, press straight back up. One of the things that I see people do and very often is they get to the bottom and they just wait around. Your muscles have stored energy in. So as you lower the bar, think of it like pulling the bow string back on a bow and arrow. You're loading the string, and you press back up. So control down, elbows underneath my wrists, and press back up. A couple of the other things that I tend to see when people get this wrong, or when people kind of set this up for either an overhead press or a push press. When I say elbows stacked underneath wrists, this is what I mean. What I see a lot of people doing is jamming their elbow all the way through, so now their elbow's here, my wrist is back here. Again, we want it all stacked. One of the things, as you take the bar out, we want to be able to stabilize ourselves. One of the ways you can stabilize yourself, if you think of your rib cage, we want to basically fill our lungs up, because that will stabilize our ribs now. And we have our shoulder blade, which attaches to our ribs. So if our ribs are moving up and down loads, moving around, then our shoulder blade is going to move around and we're not going to be as stable with our arm out here. So, as always, I would take the bar out, take a big breath in, and that's the position I want to be in. So I've almost like raised it, okay? So my shoulders raise up, my hands raise up, and I'm tight in here. When doing an overhead press, make sure every single time you do set this up, every time you walk yourself out, you're in a nice stable position, your glutes are tight, and your core is tight. What we don't want to see is as you're pressing, if you have straight legs, you're going to end up in this big arch position of your back, and leaning back, ribs flaring up. We don't want that to happen if we can avoid it. That is the whole point of the tiny little bend in my knees. Now, I'm not using my legs. This is just going to make sure that I've got way more of a stable base. There's going to be some lean back to allow my shoulder blades to move properly, allow the bar path to move straight up and down, but there's not going to be this crazy arch as I'm pressing up. We want to not let our ribs flare up as much. My name's Charlie. This is How the Body, How the Mind. We will see you on the next one.